My name is Ubaldo Acosta. I hope you're ready to begin. Let's review the general agenda of the Hibernate framework course. Are you ready? Let's go. Starting. Introduction to Hibernate framework and JPA. In this section, we'll study an introduction to Hibernate framework and JPA, and how these two technologies are related. We'll also see the concept of object relational mapping, and is the model on which Hibernate and JPA are based. We'll also review an architecture of 3 business layers, and we'll see the role played by Hibernate and JPA within this enterprise architecture. We'll also carry out the installation of the tools that we're going to use throughout the course, and we'll create the first Hello World project using Hibernate framework and JPA. The basis. Basic operations with Hibernate and JPA. In this section, we'll review the basic operations with Hibernate and JPA. These basic operations are select data, insert, update, and delete data. We'll do an exercise to put this concept into practice. Relationships. Management of associations with Hibernate and JPA. We'll review the concept of association management with Hibernate and JPA. We'll create an entity relationship scheme where we'll review the types of associations with Hibernate and JPA. We'll review the associations of one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many relationships. We'll create an exercise to put these associations into practice. State management. Life cycle in Hibernate and JPA. In this section, we'll analyze the life cycle of entity objects when we use Hibernate and JPA. We'll see how to persist an object, how to recover it, how to modify it, and how to delete it. We'll carry out an exercise to put into practice the life cycle of entity objects. More topics. Cascade persistence with Hibernate and JPA. In this section, we'll study the concept of cascade persistence, which is one of the topics that can help us when we want to persist an entity object. We'll create an exercise to put this concept into practice. Queries. Queries with Hibernate and JPA. We'll see the topic of queries when working with Hibernate and JPA. In Hibernate, this language is known as Hibernate Query Language, and in JPA is known as JPA Query Language. We'll see the characteristics of these languages, and in turn we'll perform several exercises to put this concept into practice. More queries. Criteria API with Hibernate and JPA. In addition to HQL and JPQL language, there is a criteria API which you can also extract information from the database using this API. However, this criteria API is commonly used to create dynamic queries with Java code instead of strings like HQL or JPQL language. We will create several exercises to implement this type of queries. Integrating everything. Real-world web application with Hibernate and JPA. We'll create an application called Student Management System, which will integrate everything seen in the course, from basic topics to more advanced topics of Hibernate and JPA. This application will have a 3-layer architecture and will perfectly define the role of each technology in this practical application, which will serve as the basis for your own Java web and enterprise applications using Hibernate and JPA. Broadly speaking, this is the general agenda of the Hibernate and JPA course. These are just some of the many more topics we'll learn throughout this course. So if you're ready, let's begin.